we are back to week 2. Most of you have your small workbook at home. Although you can't turn to a certain page, you can look for the top where it says 5.NF.3. And I need a workable pen. Let's try that again. There, okay. We're getting into division and talking about how a fraction is actually a division problem. So we're looking right now and it says select all expressions that are equivalent to 7/10, which we've talked about this line meaning 7 divided by 10. So right here you see 7 divided by 10. Therefore that is an equivalent expression. This one here, if I put my 1 underneath and I multiply it across, I would also get 7/10 or 7/10 or 7 divided by 10. Those all mean the same thing. This one over here is 10/7. That would not be okay. This one would be 10 divided by 7, which 10 divided by 7 gives you 1 3/7. So all of those are in the same category. They're all equivalent to each other, but they are not equivalent to 7/10. Okay, select all the equations that number 8 will make it true. So where you have a question mark, go ahead and put in a number 8. Okay. This one here says 4 divided by 8, which would be 4 divided by 8. And that is what they have, so therefore that is true. This would be 8 divided by 5. That's not what they have, or that is not correct. This one would be 10 divided by 8. Now both of those are even numbers, therefore they can both be divided by 2 to simplify. And if I divide both of them by 2, I end up with 5/4. And that is what they have. That is a tricky one, and that one is correct. This one would be 16 divided by 8, which would equal 2, not 1/2, like they say. This one would be 8 divided by 7. So it would not be 7 divided by 8. So we have 2 that are correct on that one. Over here to number 4, Francis has 14 yards of trim. He is making picture frames that take 4 yards each. We've done multiple problems like this. He's making picture frames that take 3 yards each. We've done multiple problems like this. You have your 14 yards and you need to section it off into 3 yards each. So we want to know how many picture frames, whole picture frames, he can make. So we would take our 14 yards and we would divide it by 3, which if you write that as a fraction, that is 14 divided by 3, which is an improper fraction, so we house divide. 3 to 14 goes 4 times. 12 minus, you get a 2, you have 4 2/3. Okay, so 14 divided by 3 is 4 2/3. B is saying how many yards of trim will be left. Well, he needs an exact 3 yards for each one of his picture frames. So that means that we can make 4 of them. And what we will have left is our 2/3. And up here you can make 4 picture frames. Okay. Number 3, Marla used 17 gallons of water to wash 6 dogs. She used the same amount of water to wash each dog. How much water did she use to wash each dog? So we're going to take our 17 gallons, which was her total amount of water used, and we're going to divide it out by 6 dogs. So once again, this is where we take 17 divided by 6. We have to house divide to make a mixed fraction. 17 divided by 6. 6 goes into 17 2 times, which is 12. Subtract 5. So it's 2 5/6. So each dog used up 2 5/6 of a gallon to be washed. Okay. Now Number 5, farm workers harvested 156 pounds of tomatoes from its field over 7 days. So within those 7-day frame, they've harvested 156 pounds of tomatoes. If they harvested the same amount each day, how many pounds of tomato did they harvest each day? So we have a total amount. In 7 days, we harvested 156 pounds. Now we want to break that down into the 7 days. So it would be 156 divided by 7, which once again, turning it into a fraction so that you can see exactly what you need to do, 156 divided by 7. We house divide this one, 7 into 156. So 7 goes into 15 2 times, which is 14. Subtract 1, bring down my 6. 7 into 16, another 2 times, which is 14. Subtract, I have 2. So my whole number is 22 and 2 sevenths. So each day they did 22 and 2 sevenths pounds of tomato per day. Okay. All right, to our second page. Using the numbers and operations in the box to make an expression that is equivalent to, once again, we just need to say this. It says 17, this line means divided by 19. So you would plug in 17 divided by 19. Number 7 says, Pete says that he knows that 2 divided by 3 is 2/3. Which multiplication equation shows his answer checks? I'm not very fond of the word checks. Instead, we're going to use the word inverse. And what I mean by that, you've done these before, where you have taken something like 10 divided by 5 equals 2. And the way you were taught to check that is to do the inverse of it, which would mean 2 times 5 equals 10. This is asking the same thing with this problem. It just happens to have a fraction in this. So if we were to take this 2 divided by 3, which equals 2/3, and do the inverse of it, it would be 2/3 times 3 equals 2. And our answer would be B. Number 8, 12 pounds of flour are divided evenly into 5 bowls. So we have 12 pounds divided evenly into 5 bowls. How much flour is in each bowl? So once again, we have our 12 pounds. We're pouring it into this bowl, we're doing that 5 times. So we take our 12 pounds and we divide it by 5. I want us to get used to recognizing this as a fraction. So this, in other words, would look like this, 12 divided by 5. You would have to house divide, which would be 12. 5 into 12 would go 2 times, 10, subtract, and we end up with 2 and 2/5. So it would be 2 and 2/5 pounds of flour are in each of the 5 bowls. This one here, we're going to match each expression to its quotient. This one says 9 divided by 6, okay? So 9 divided by 6 would equal into 1 3/6, which is also equal to 1 1/2. 6 divided by 9, we would divide each of them, simplify them down by 2 because they're both even numbers. So 2 divided by 6 is 3. We would divide them by 3. They're not both even numbers. 6 divided by 3 and 9 divided by 3 would be 2/3. Sorry, went too fast there. 6 divided by 5. Nothing. Oh, this is an improper fraction, so this would equal 1 1/5. And this one is 5 divided by 8. Jamil used 82 pounds of concrete to make 9 fire pits that are each the same size. How many pounds of concrete were used in each fire pit? So he has all of his concrete here. He wants to make 9. So he needs to figure out how much he can use in order to make all 9. So he's going to take his 82 and divide it by 9. Another way to write this is 82 divided by 9. If we take that and do this problem, all of these are ways to write the exact same thing. 9 goes into 82 9 times, which equals 81. Subtract. And you have 9 and 1/9. So each one of those fire pits needed 9 and 1/9 pounds of concrete. Yashi says that 18 divided by 4 is equal to 4 1/2. Is she correct? Well, if I took 18 divided by 4 and wrote it as a fraction, 18 divided by 4, I would see it's improper. I would house divide. 18 divided by 4. 4 goes into 18 4 times, which is 16. Subtract, and I have 2, so therefore it's 4 2/4, which 2/4 simplifies down to 4 1/2. So yes, she is correct. Our last problem on this worksheet. There are 6 pies that are divided evenly into 20 servings. What fraction of a pie is in each serving? So we have 6 pies that are being divided among 20 servings. So once again, that is 6 divided by 20. We can see that both of these are even numbers and therefore can be divided out by 2. So we would have 3/10. So each serving would be 3/10 of a pie.
Dope-tastic.